What is going on, guys, and welcome your face back to another video. So today we have some very cool things to talk about for Just Cause 4. Now the footage you see in the background is actually pre-release beta footage from Nerdcubed, and also we do have a new Spotlight trailer. Now I have been quiet about this game for a while, and I know a lot of you guys have seen that, but pretty much because I have been observing the mythical lands wherever gameplay spawns. Pretty much, like that is all I have been doing. Now if you have not seen the gameplay in the background by Nerdcubed, I highly recommend you guys go and check it out. The link is in the description below, but it's one of those things where like sound wise you need to hear because it's pretty great. That's more or less it. So moving on to the great stuff, I have said this before, but this game has literally been modded by the developers themselves, and it is great. So one thing I want to point out is this game visually, first and foremost, compared to the last Just Cause game, is seriously insane. I have to say the desert biome already is one of my favorite ones, just because it seems so bright and empty and just full of things to do because it's empty. And even in Just Cause 2, it was one of my favorites because of course it had biomes like Just Cause 4, but the desert area, there was kind of like secret things you can get like vehicles. I think in Just Cause 2 there was this secret military base in the desert area where you can go and get the cargo plane, and that was a vehicle that you simply couldn't find elsewhere. You had to go there, and it was one of those things that could sometimes be there and could sometimes not be there, but when you got it you felt super rewarded, more or less. And that is what I would like to see in this game, and what it more or less looks like we're getting anyway. Now one thing that got me, and I got to be real with you guys, it was the goddamn wildlife. I mean, you may be thinking, what are you on about? Well, because there are llamas, people, okay? There are freaking llamas in the game. Like, what on earth is going on? Do you realize how weird but cool it would feel to, you know, grapple a llama to your stunt plane and start dropping llamas on people? Please, just picture that moment and, you know, tell me if I am wrong. But I know I am not wrong in this case, so you will not be telling me. Now, moving on to the vehicles, everything looks so much more smooth compared to Just Cause 3, both visual-wise and performance-wise. One thing I really did hate in Just Cause 3 was the arcade kind of driving mechanics. I mean, at first it looked like it was going to be okay, but it felt like I was driving a lorry. I mean, every freaking car felt like a big-ass truck, and that pretty much happened every time I crashed. Now, we have seen this when it comes down to aircrafts, you know, visual-wise and performance-wise, that everything looks super small. And we do have a huge selection, which is completely different, you know, Just Cause 3. Sure, there were a lot of vehicles, but in the Spotlight trailer, we basically see things like a private jet that wasn't in, of course, Just Cause 3, and that looked like it was landing in one of the scenes, and I'm not sure if we have seen this private jet before, but it was the first time I definitely spotted it. And then we saw a much clearer shot of it when it flew by in the main, you know, populated area, of course, the city. And more on vehicles though, we have, of course, you know, had things like quad bikes, we got doom buggies and super badass muscle cars and sports cars, and again, sound wise, this is insane. Like, everything is so much more different now. Like, you actually feel like if you're driving a muscle car, you're driving a muscle car. If you're driving a sports car, you're driving a goddamn sports car. But one of my favorites when it comes down to vehicles has to be the jet ski, and if you didn't know, originally this was meant to be in Just Cause 3, but for some reason, I'm going to assume technical stuff, they simply had to remove it, but someone ended up, you know, digging up that information within the game's file. But overall, the game seems much more challenging. Like, you're going to have to face these different weather conditions, which is seriously going to, you know, increase your skill in general. Like, you have to be on point because you might be in one biome, it might be fine for a certain amount of time, and then bang, okay, just as you get in combat, you get a sandstorm, okay, you get freaking lightning going on, and it will affect, you know, what you see, etc. So skills is, you know, definitely gonna be one of the things you need to obtain, and hopefully there will be some type of skill point system that will, you know, then result in rewarding you with some cool unlockables. But that being said, when I saw the private jet, it kind of reminded me in Just Cause 2, of course you can have the private private jet on the Mile High Club. I seriously hope there will be secret locations that essentially are Easter eggs, but just top secret locations that will be very rewarding. It's such a big game, so much going on, it just has to be a must-have. But guys, what do you think on this so far? Like, from the gameplay we saw yesterday to the trailer, what do you rate this game out of 10? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe for more awesome content if you haven't already. I am full on with Just Cause 4 content now. Like, I have so many things to talk about because there's so many things creeping up now, of course, under the ground, and we're getting closer to the game's release, and there's just a bunch of things going on. So subscribe for more awesome content. If you missed any of the previous videos, check them out. They are on screen right now, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.